What's going on, trading card game players? Figs here with Figs Form, bringing you guys another rendition of Phantom Knights. So as I told you guys, I would be playing Orcust PK for Nationals. So of course, here's my first deck profile prior to Nationals of what I've been testing and what I've been playing for Phantom Knights. I wanted to go ahead and give you guys a quick rundown of what I've been obviously playing in the deck, my preferences, my take, my transformation of the deck. So that way you guys can also go ahead and jump in the comments section below. Give me your guys' suggestion and ideas. I've been trying to find the best way to kind of bridge Phantom Knights into Orcust. Unfortunately, there's a very limited amount of cards, but we are able to obviously make it work. I think actually playing the engine is actually great, especially for the end board. Kind of adds a couple different elements and also gives us some other options for when we're playing into a board as well. Not as relevant, but I'll get into it and discuss with you guys, of course, my opinion and my take and my formula on everything here. And then, of course, your guys' transformations, go ahead and throw them in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys are doing with the engine, mixing it in with PK, Orcust. But so far, I've been really enjoying the deck. I played it at locals a couple weeks now, and I've only actually taken one loss in locals, which is actually really nice. So yeah, I mean, the deck has actually been performing very well. I think that it's actually very strong. I'm excited to play it for Nationals. So let's get into the list because I actually do want to provide you guys with a little combo video as well towards the end. So let's get right into it. Alrighty, so as usual, we'll go ahead and get into the deck profile. We'll start with the Phantom Knight stuff as I always do. So we've got ourselves one Torn, one Cloak, one Boots, two Fogblade, and one of the Shade Burgundy. So this is actually how I'm playing it. I decided to go with a 3-3 split. I wanted to have the availability of having access to the cards without bricking on seeing the additional cards. So for example, of course, playing just 2 and 2 would allow us to actually be able to see one name and brick on the other since we can't resolve each. So I wanted to play 3 and 3, which isn't the worst thing, honestly, because we are playing the Horus engine. We do have the ability to pitch a lot of cards. Also, this allows us to have additional bodies. So I'll show you in the combos, you are able to actually have additional bodies that allows you to actually set up things like IP, set up the Link 4, set up Bardiche with Ding. You have access to a lot. So it does give you the ability to do more, or you can be as minimalistic as possible because of Charmies and actually set up a very easy niche end board. So I think this is the perfect ratio so far. If you don't want to play the Phantom Knight stuff, obviously you can take it out. The list is actually 48, so we do have a little bit of wiggle room, or it might be a little less. I'm not actually too sure. I actually completely forgot how the deck size is, but either way, if you wanted to take this out and play Orcust Horus, you most definitely could, but I would definitely play this. I like it a lot. The only thing is I do set it out going second currently because there are no real options in the extra deck that allow you to actually play into your opponent's board outside of like Access Code or Dark Charmer. So because this engine doesn't really facilitate any level 3 plays like we normally would, I actually have been citing it out for going second cards, going second, and then of course going first, I keep it in. So I decided to just keep it in general, just because again, even going second, it's not the worst. We have the ability to have free extenders and we are able to set up a lot. So so far I like this. Again, you guys can always provide your transformation and what you guys think would be a better ratio, but I do like that so far. Then we got our Orca stuff. We got our 3 Girsu, 3 Horror, 3 Nightmare, 1 Skeleton, 1 Wand, 1 Crescendo, and 1 Babel. So this is how we're playing this engine. I wanted to go ahead and facilitate having as many options to play the game as possible. Skeleton obviously is the worst card to open as he doesn't facilitate a lot of play, but in our deck, he actually does quite a bit just because of the fact that we are playing Bardiche. We can still opt to end on like Barrel or Orcust Crescendo with double Fogblade. We can also even just set up like different things like that just allow us to be able to have a real board. So I think this is great. I think this does allow us to be able to do as much as we needed to. I'm not playing Wand. I want Nightmare just for the consistency. So we are playing the Horus engine. We want to have the ability to dump cards. So I think Orcust Nightmare is one of the best options for being able to have cards to dump, just because it will allow you to be able to set up your board the way that you need to. And it creates the consistency because again, we only have basically 7 1-card starters. The Nightmare obviously is always going to be for the pitch. So if we see these and we go into Galatea, this is going to be our discard. So it allows us to see what we don't actually have access to. So the idea behind that is primarily the skeleton, but I didn't want to increase the count because again, just drawing that and starting with it is just absolutely awful. And then we're playing the crown, of course, because of the skeleton and additional setup. But yeah, this is actually great. I think this ratio has been perfectly fine as well. Trust me, if we had more options for 1-card starters, I'd play more of the options here. All right, so let's get into the Horus engine. We've got 3 Mseti, 3 King Sark, 1 Duomontif, 1 Happy. I have considered cutting the Duomontif and just playing the Happy. Also think about cutting down the King Sark. Again, you are able to basically bring the deck down and play less as you need to, but I wanted to play as many options as we can. I think the Horus is actually great just because it's very good in Amitsu. It's good in Yugioh once you're able to get past Detonator. So I do think that it's very necessary to play, especially for the Orcust stuff. But I do think that some of these cards and ratios can be modified to avoid, bricking on unnecessary cards. And that was the same idea with Wand. Wand is not a necessary card. It does allow you to have an additional body if you are able to see the additional name, and that's the only way that it works. Like Girsu, seeing Girsu doesn't allow you to actually do Wand and Skeleton. You actually have to see an additional card, so that's why we're playing the 3 Nightmare. But I didn't want to brick on the Wand, so we cut it. Foolish is in here as well. Best card in the deck. It facilitates, obviously the Orcust engine and allows you to play. Everything else is non-engine, so we'll go into all the hand traps. We've got 3 Fualos, definitely necessary in my opinion for the format, just because of the way it's shaping up. Ash deals with the Fualoses, the Mulch Army, so we do have to play 3. Droll is insane against pretty much every deck in the format right now. Imperm, I like it a lot. It's probably the only cuttable hand trap in here in my opinion, because we are playing Fogblade. We really don't need it for our end board, but I think it's great for being able to deal with boards, especially against Detonator or even Caesar. We want to have an option to be able to deal with those things. And I think that Droplet just isn't enough on its own. Dominus Impulse, the best hand trap in the deck, honestly. And then Forbidden Droplet. I'll always play this in any PK or graveyard list. I think it's absolutely necessary. So that's it for the non-engine. So that's it for the main deck. Again, I like this ratio. I think this is great. It allows you to be able to see cards to interact with your opponent going turn 0. And then, of course, you have the ability to set up a really good end board going first. So let's get into the extra deck. Obviously, there's a lot of preference in the extra deck. I do plan on modifying some of it. It's just, again, I'm still testing and learning the deck, as I never played Orcust before, so I'm kind of just getting myself familiar with everything. But cards like Galatea, I'd probably cut to 1 and stuff like that, just to give me more room and access to more utility. But this is how we have it at the moment. So 2 Galatea, 2 Galatea, Long Girsu, Elong Girsu, and then the 2 Ding Girsu. So I kind of put him in and out at times. He's actually really good just because of the fact of his numbers. The link numbers in the mono bodies that we do have make a huge difference because we kind of like divert from going forward to backwards because of Bardiche. Bardiche can't be used for a link summon, so unfortunately we have to find a way to kind of modify our numbers to get the best value out of our bodies. And because Galatea can be returned to the board as a link 2, it allows us to be able to climb a little bit easier in certain situations. So Long Girsu comes up just as a bridge sometimes. Same thing with like the Dark Charmer. On your turn 1, sometimes you have to use this to bridge in certain ways, but I think that it's perfectly fine. I think Long Girsu is actually not bad. He's actually insane. And Long Girsu, I like this card a lot. And the Ding Girsu is obviously very good for Bardiche. So that's it for the Orcust cards. IP, SP, Dark Charmer, Bardiche. Obviously important cards for the deck and cards we want and have necessary to play. Unicorn, Access Code, and Vampire. So Unicorn's in here actually because of Chaos Hunter. I want to be able to have an out during my turn to be able to out Chaos Hunter. And Unicorn's the best one just because it's easy to make. You're able to get access to all the cards you need. Like you can go through Galatea, get the cards that you need without actually having to banish, just as long as you got 1 banish in there from the beginning. And then you can go ahead and just make Unicorn out their Chaos Hunter and keep playing. So I also like it during my opponent's turn because sometimes with Elong Girsu, you're able to add certain cards back to hand. So let's say, for example, your opponent found a way to interact with you and stop you from being able to get one of your cards to grave. Elong Girsu can add it to hand, and then Unicorn can actually discard it. So there are certain situations where that does come up and does make a difference. And I want to have the ability to discard cards sometimes. And since Galatea is the only one that can discard cards during our turn, sometimes if we've gone through both of our search targets, we're not able to bring back Galatea to discard during our opponent's turn. So Unicorn was the second best option since we are playing IP. So that is my take on the main deck and extra deck. I won't go through side as it is very preferential, but I have been playing cards like Lightning Storm, XYZ Encore to honestly answer things like Castell. But yeah, so that's it for the extra deck and the main deck. Again, I think this is 48, 46. So it's actually 46. We could probably cut it down to eliminate a lot of the bricks or mitigate bricks just in general. So we can cut the deck down a little bit and still keep our Phantom Knight stuff in here if we really wanted to. Moving things like the additional Orcust monster, maybe a King Sark. I feel like those are probably the most modifiable. But outside of that, you can cut the PK engine down to a 2/2 if you really wanted to. I just wanted to have access to more cards. But aside from that, let's go ahead and get into the combo video. All right, so let's go ahead and get this shuffled up. I'll give you guys a quick little combo tutorial video. Again, it's nothing crazy. The only difference is that instead of going into Yugioh, like most normal Orcust decks do, we have the ability to go into Yugioh with Bardiche or Bardiche with IP. We have actually access to a lot of extension depending on what our opponent throws at us. So we are able to, have quite a few bodies, but our hand is going to be, what it's based on. So let's see what we got here. 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is not bad. If we M-SETI here with the Nightmare, then of course we're guaranteed play. So we'll go ahead and do that. Because even if they Ash, we have access to Orcust Nightmare. And if they save the Ash for the Orcust Nightmare, we have access to Vampire. So most definitely a win-win. Let's see what we draw here. See if we can get ourselves a normal summoned Girsu. Draw another droplet. Okay, so let's go ahead and do King Sark. We'll go ahead and send the Horus, because again, the minute we start playing this, we lose access to the Horus stuff. So we don't want to just throw away our effects. So we have access to all 3 names. We've got a free extender as well, which is nice, and a droplet to discard for Galatea. So that's kind of the thing. Like, you're kind of looking at your hand to see what you have access to, what you can pitch, things like that kind of make things a little better. So we're going to have access to a few free bodies. So we're going to go ahead and start with the Vampire. And again, we're just going to assume everything gets resolved. So we'll cut for 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll go ahead and summon the Nightmare. And the reason we didn't use M-SETI is because we are going to get Dark Locked. So it's best for us to be able to, not lose access to that. Galatea, pitching droplet. Grab Babel. Then we'll activate the Babel. And then we'll go ahead and do Orcust Nightmare to send Harp. Harp to summon Girsu, or Girsu effect to go and send Skeleton. So now we have all of our names that we need in rotation. So we'll go ahead and do these 2. For Galatea. Galatea is going to go ahead and return the Harp Horror. We'll grab our Crescendo. We'll try to leave all these cards face up so you guys can see what we're ending on here without crowding too much. Go ahead and do these. We'll go ahead and make our Bardiche. Bardiche effect. That's the great thing is that, even at any point, if we get nibs, we have access to like Skeleton, we have access to extra bodies like World Crown. So we're going to be able to extend past most of what our opponent throws at us. So we'll go ahead and do Cloak. Cloak is going to grab us our boots. And this is going to give us access to quite a few bodies. And actually, if we had access to the trap, we probably could do IP, do both, but I think we're fine here. So the idea here is, again, we don't want to do too much, but we do want to be able to do enough. So we went ahead and did that. So we haven't used Galatea. So let's see, we have access to Galatea. We have access still to Symbol. We have access to M-SETI. We have access to Boots. We have access to Crown. So this is a potential of, we have potentially 5 bodies left because we have access to Galatea. So these are all bodies that we have not used yet that allow us to be able to continue to set up our end board. And that's why I said it's very easy for us to actually get access to Yugioh and IP. The only issue is that if we do it in a certain rotation, we actually end up not being able to get access to Ding just because of the fact that we lose, we need the link 2 in order to be able to do that. So normally what you could do is if you wanted to not summon Ding and just get access to Yugioh and IP, you would just bring back this, special summon this to this zone, and just make Yugioh, completely. Well, I would use obviously Galatea because of the link restriction for IP. So we'll use this instead of the boots. We'll just keep the boots. So we could use those 3, those 3 to make Yugioh. And then we could just go ahead and just summon, M-SETI, special summon this, make IP. And basically gives us the ability to have access to everything. And then we could do Elongirusu to grab Skeleton to add to hand. We'll use Boots to banish to get our second Fog Blade. Yeah, and that's pretty much the end board here. So we'd go ahead and we'd have that in hand. We'd set these two. So we have basically access to all of this. So, I mean, it does give us a little bit different. The only difference is instead of getting an extra send and a pop, you're going to actually just have access to a steal, which is the difference. And again, you put your Skeleton in rotation as well. So it's not the worst thing. It's just the only thing is, again, you don't get access to the ding send, which, obviously sucks. But, we do want to usually have that in rotation. That's why I do prefer the IP board. So instead of making Elongirusu, we would obviously we probably keep a couple of our extenders. We definitely use the boots because we do want to get access to the second Fog Blade. We could always just summon Mseti to keep it on the board. So let's say we use, we don't use Galatea because we can't use it for IP. So Girsu stays in the deck. We used boots. We used the Skeleton, which we banished to summon the Galatea. We made Ding, so Ding over. Ding would have returned the Skeleton underneath, and then we would have access to it in the grave. Elongirusu wouldn't be here. So yeah, that's the only difference. So we still end on the same board with everything else. It's just, a more minimalistic board. But again, this is very strong because IP, Ding, we have access to multiple interruptions, especially again with what we draw. We could, if we wanted to, keep the World Crown as well and just summon that because this was technically in our hand also. So this would technically still be in our hand. We used it for the bodies earlier, but we could summon it here if we wanted to. It just takes away from our ability to do Ding. A lot of times, I normally just tend to kind of hold on to it. I'm not a fan of the onboard effect because a lot of monsters, the extra deck monsters, they tend to be a little bit too powerful for this to actually matter that much. But it's still not a bad card, and we still have the ability to use it if we need to. So we could put it here, especially since we do have Droplet. We are able to clear up our board, especially if IP gets negated. But this is the idea. I enjoy this a lot. I think Fog Blade's actually very good. Even the targeting pop is very good as well. And I think that's the most important thing about this board is that a lot of it is not just targeted towards monsters. The Fog Blades this is an Omni, this is a non-targeting send anything, and this is a targeting pop anything. So I think that's very important to realize is that you do have the ability to kind of get access to effects that do kind of deal with anything. And, that's the important thing, especially in this format, because we want to be able to have access, to a really good end board that our opponent can't play through. And Fogblade is very good against like Ame or the Mitsu engine. Crescendo is very good against Ritual Spell in most situations, especially once they dump the guy who gets back from grave or banish. Being able to save this for the Ritual Spell usually means that the board wipe won't come out. But Fogblade also does help facilitate dealing with that, especially if they don't use prayers. But we have things like Droplet and stuff that also let you deal with it. And the good thing about it is the board wipe really doesn't matter that much because once you resolve IP for whatever you go into, whether it's SP or Elongirusu, then they're protected. And the only thing that really sits on your board is just Bardiche. Everything else you can decide to bring out after or have effects for after. And if they don't out your King Sark, your Horus stuff just kind of deals with the Mitsu stuff anyway. So I like it a lot. Like I said, I hope you guys really enjoy the combo. If anything doesn't make sense, definitely feel free to jump in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think, or if you have any questions, transformations. Let's definitely go ahead and run that comment section up so that way we can support each other and find the best way to play the deck for Nationals, because I would love to be able to top and or win Nationals with PK Horus, but we'll most definitely see. I've been enjoying it. I'm looking for more options of playing the PK engine into a board just because the deck is very tight. I mean, again, you can kind of modify some of the numbers. This is like really the only modifiable one I could really think of outside of like maybe Unicorn, Access Code, and Dark Charmer. But I like these a lot just because of the current format. We want the potential to have a kill button when we need it. I like the effective discard and dealing with Chaos Hunter, and I do like this because of Mitsu. So it's kind of hard to really find the room to facilitate playing different cards. But I like this so far. I don't miss Zeus. I don't miss Typhon, if anybody asks. I'm not too much of a fan of those cards. I feel like they're just too... Typhon's too predictable, and Zeus is too niche for when you need him. I mean, a lot of times, Vampire, you link off. Ding doesn't usually last on the board for very long. So it's kind of hard to really facilitate setting up a Zeus that easily. But yeah, jump in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think. I appreciate the support. Definitely will see you guys at Nats. I'm going to try to do at least maybe one more video before Nats just to kind of update you guys on what changes I've made for Nationals. But if I don't, and I'm not able to get another video up, I'll definitely post something in the community on the YouTube channel just to kind of give you guys a heads up for what's coming up for nationals. And I hope to see everybody there. Definitely don't hesitate to come up to me, say hi, see how you guys are doing. Talk shop, talk Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever. But yeah, definitely appreciate you, the community. Definitely appreciate the support. Continue to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the comments.